Welcome to Unfiltered Finance. If you're tired of the financial illusions and ready for the brutal math, you are in exactly the right place. Let's dive in. In 2024, outstanding credit card debt in the UK reached a staggering £73 billion, according to the Bank of England. But this £73 billion isn't just a macroeconomic statistic. It is made of millions of quiet, desperate tragedies playing out behind the doors of tiny London flats. Let's look at one of them. The story of a boy named Leo. Meet Leo. He was an ordinary 23-year-old living in the city. One morning, a pristine white envelope arrived in his mail. He tore it open, unaware that he was about to sign away his freedom. Inside was his first credit card. The credit limit? A tempting £4,000. To Leo, it didn't look like debt. It felt like absolute free money. It was a magical key to adulthood, unlocking doors he previously couldn't afford. But what he didn't notice was the tiny, dark shadow that slipped out of the envelope, along with the shiny red plastic. A manifestation of the system, the shadow had glowing white eyes and a wide, sinister grin. At first, it just sat on his desk, a harmless little pet, eager to please, or so he thought. The true nature of the beast was yet to be revealed. It wasn't just the coat. It was the matching £150 Chelsea boots and £80 dinners. The credit card felt like a magic wand, waving away financial reality. He was buying an identity, an illusion of wealth curated for Instagram. But beneath the surface, the harmless little shadow pet was mutating. With every tap, every ping of a notification, the monster fed on his future. By the end of his first year, Leo had maxed out his £4,000 limit. He requested an increase. The bank, seeing a highly profitable customer, happily raised it to £10,000. This is where the boiling frog realizes the water is getting dangerously hot. Let's look at the math, because this monster is made of pure mathematics. It's called the annual percentage rate, or simply APR. In 2024, the average UK credit card APR hit a brutal 24.8%. The highest since the 1990s. If you have Albert Einstein calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, credit card companies are the ones weaponizing it against you. Unlike a simple personal loan, credit card debt compounds daily. Daily. Every single night while Leo slept, the bank took his balance, multiplied it by the daily rate, and added it to his debt. At the end of the month, the dreaded bank statement arrives. It reads, "Minimum payment due, £150. Leo breathes a sigh of relief. He pays it, feeling responsible and entirely in control. But he doesn't see the shadow banker grinning in the dark. The trap is perfectly set. Here's the analyst insight. The minimum payment is not designed to help you clear your debt. It is a carefully calculated mathematical trap. When you pay that £150, almost all of it simply covers the interest generated that month. Let's assume Leo has built up a £10,000 balance at that brutal 24.8% APR. If he only pays the £150 minimum, do you know how long it will take him to escape? Over 20 years. 2 entire decades of his young life. He will pay thousands of pounds in pure interest, buying absolutely nothing. He has become a modern Sisyphus, pushing a heavy boulder up a hill, only for the monster to push it right back down every single night on the London Underground. 3 years pass. The repetitive cycle eats away at his youth. The balance doesn't shrink. It creeps up to £12,000. At 26 years old, Leo is exhausted, and the facade is breaking. One miserable, rainy evening, Leo stopped at a local supermarket to buy some basic groceries. Just a carton of eggs, a loaf of bread, and some milk. The total was a mere £10. He casually tapped his shiny red credit card on the reader, expecting the familiar approving beep. But this time, the machine flashed a harsh, glaring red light. The screen read, "Declined." The shadow monster, now massive and suffocating, had swallowed his entire credit limit. There was nothing left. Humiliated, Leo had to leave his groceries at the till and walk out into the cold London rain. The carefully curated facade of his life had completely shattered. He could no longer afford the illusion. Desperate and feeling entirely alone, he met his wealthy friend at a high-end pub in Chelsea. His friend sat there looking flawless, wearing a £2,000 watch and projecting the perfect image of success. Leo couldn't hold it in anymore. He broke down, confessing his £12,000 debt and his exhausting secret. He expected pity. He expected judgment. But instead, his friend's perfect, confident smile slowly began to fade. The friend looked away, ashamed. In the dim light, the heavy iron chain around his ankle finally became visible. He leaned in and whispered, "I'm drowning too, mate. I owe 25 grand. And right behind his friend, an even larger, more terrifying shadow monster loomed, holding a gold credit card. The illusion of modern wealth is exactly that, an illusion. Millions are silently feeding monsters in their wallets. They aren't alone. As the cost of living crisis squeezed households across the country, millions relied on credit just to survive. And when the Bank of England raised the base rate to fight inflation, variable credit card rates completely skyrocketed. The banks passed the cost directly to the consumer. The monster didn't just grow from Leo's spending, it evolved, getting stronger from macroeconomic policies that Leo had absolutely no control over. The system is deliberately designed to blur the line between affordability and credit limit. There is no magic spell to defeat the monster. You cannot out-earn a bad spending habit. Leo realized his enemy wasn't just the bank, and it wasn't just the math. It was his ego. To survive, he had to willingly accept social death. No more Soho pubs, no more matching the Joneses. He sits at his worn wooden table, takes a pair of sharp scissors, and does the most agonizing, liberating thing a modern consumer can do. He cuts the plastic in half. The shadow monster shrieks. The plastic was gone. The shadow monster had turned to dust. For a moment, there was peace, but the relief was painfully short-lived. The massive iron boulder labeled 12,000 pounds was still chained tightly to his ankle. Cutting the card didn't magically erase the debt. It simply stopped the bleeding. To destroy a boulder that size, willpower is not enough. You need a rigorous system. In the financial world, analysts relentlessly debate between two primary debt-clearing methods. The first is the Avalanche Method, a strategy built entirely on cold, hard logic. The Avalanche targets the debt with the highest interest rate first, ignoring the balance size. Mathematically speaking, this is the optimal path. It minimizes the total interest paid to the bank. If humans were rational calculators, everyone would use the Avalanche. The shadow banker assumes you will. But here is the behavioral insight. Humans are not spreadsheets. We are deeply emotional creatures. When dealing with massive debt, the mathematical path often takes too long to show visible progress. People lose hope. They give up. That's why behavioral economists advocate for the Snowball Method. You ignore the interest rates completely. Instead, you line up your debts from the smallest balance to the largest. You pay the minimum on everything else, but attack the smallest debt with every single spare pound. Leo looked at his multiple balances. He knew himself. To survive this, he didn't need optimal math. He needed momentum. The first step of the snowball is liquidation. He sells his beloved 400-pound trench coat. He walks out of a secondhand shop in the rain, holding a fraction of what he paid. He throws every single pound at the next target, his 800-pound credit card balance. Another satisfying red line. The second target is dead. The momentum builds, but momentum requires fuel. Leo completely downgrades his lifestyle. He eats beans on toast for dinner. It isn't easy. On his phone, he watches his peers enjoying 80-pound sushi dinners in Soho, but Leo remembers the shadow monster. He turns the phone face down. He ignores the illusion. To accelerate the snowball, he takes on a side hustle, delivering packages late into the night. Months pass. Every extra hour worked, every skipped coffee, adds snow to the ball. 8 months later, the 3,000-pound debt is crossed out. The snowball is now a massive force. Leo rolls the accumulated monthly payments into the final 8,000 pounds balance. The beast is cornered. Without the daily fuel of new purchases, the shadow monster shrinks rapidly. The massive iron boulder on his ankle is now just a small, cracked stone. He is tired. His 20s were spent working constantly and eating cheap food. But he smiles. The psychological momentum is undeniable. He is just one paycheck away from freedom. The chain was finally broken. After 3 agonizing years, the 12,000-pound debt was entirely wiped out. Leo opened his banking app. For the first time in a very long time, there was no minus sign, just 0 pounds. He had spent 3 years of extreme frugality, selling his possessions and working late nights just to buy his way back to zero. Net worth, zero. But to someone who had been crushed by the weight of a monster, returning to zero felt incredibly light. However, as a financial analyst, we must look objectively at the final receipt of this war. The original principal balance that Leo accumulated was exactly £12,000. But over those 3 years of the Snowball Method, the total amount he actually paid the bank was nearly £17,000. That £5,000 difference is pure, unadulterated interest. The mathematical penalty of the Sisyphus trap. It wasn't money spent on food or shelter. It was the cost of his Soho illusion and the Diderot Effect. The shadow banker gladly collected this £5,000 premium, a highly profitable yield for the system. He tips his hat and walks away, leaving Leo with nothing but a very expensive life lesson. Economists call this the sunk cost. But in personal finance, it is the sunk cost of youth. It is the energy and peace of mind lost in your 20s, traded for a temporary fake status. Leo accepted this harsh truth. He couldn't change the past, but it forced a new question into his mind. What if he hadn't fed the monster? What if that £150 monthly minimum payment had been used differently? Let's walk down the green path. The alternate universe. Imagine if, at age 23, Leo had recognized the shadow banker's trap and torn up the envelope. Instead of feeding a monster with £150 a month, he directed it to a different vehicle. He automatically invested that exact same £150 into a stocks and shares ISA, tracking a global index fund. Historically, broad index funds like the S&P 500 average an annual return of around 10%. In this universe, the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, is working for him, not against him. Fast forward 3 years. Alternate Leo is 26 years old. He hasn't just avoided a £12,000 debt. His investments have steadily grown to over £6,200. But let's play the tape forward to age 32. The exact age when our original Leo finally got back to zero. 9 years of consistently investing just £150 a month. A small, unglamorous habit. No fancy Chelsea boots. No Soho pub status. Just a quiet, rolling snowball. By age 32, his portfolio would be worth roughly £26,000, with over £9,000 of pure compound growth. Let's compare the two universes side by side. At 32, indebted Leo is exhausted, holding a receipt for a wasted youth and a net worth of zero. Alternate Leo sits on £26,000, compounding daily. The invisible wealth gap between them is staggering. Original Leo doesn't have £26,000. He is starting from scratch at 32. The credit card industry relies heavily on our desire to look wealthy before we actually are, but true wealth is quiet. It isn't a £2,000 watch or a vintage trench coat. It is an emergency fund. It's the profound peace of mind knowing you owe nothing to anyone. It's the absolute freedom to walk away from a toxic job because you aren't chained to a monthly payment. Leo is now 32. He looks at his bank account. The balance is small. But when he stands in the bright sun, there are no monsters hiding in his shadow anymore. What about you? Are you silently feeding a shadow monster in your wallet right now? If this story hit close to home, please share this video with a friend who might be trapped. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to join us for more financial truth. Until next time, stay free and don't let the shadows bite. Please note, this video is for informational and educational purposes only, not financial advice. All investing carries risk of loss. Do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making any decisions. To survive this, Leo knows he has to willingly accept a kind of social death. No more trendy pubs. No more buying items just to match the Joneses. He opens his desk drawer and takes out a heavy pair of metal scissors. The shadow monster behind him suddenly senses the impending danger. It looms over him, projecting all his fears of losing his status and his friends. But Leo doesn't flinch. He prepares to do the most agonizing, liberating thing a modern consumer can do. He cuts the card in half. The physical umbilical cord to the monster is severed. The shadow monster shrieks in excruciating pain. Without the daily fuel of new purchases, its thick armor shatters. The bleeding stops. The heavy psychological suffocation lifts from the room. He stopped digging the hole. he killed the habit, but the 12,000-pound boulder remains firmly chained to his ankle. To destroy a boulder that size, willpower isn't enough. You need a system. To defeat the 12,000-pound monster, Leo had to choose between two fundamentally different financial strategies. The first is the Avalanche Method. It is what every traditional spreadsheet and economist recommends. You organize your debts from the highest interest rate down and attack the highest rate first. Mathematically, it is the absolute most efficient path. It saves you the most money overall, but attacking a massive mountain from the peak requires relentless, machine-like discipline. And here is the critical analyst insight. Humans are not spreadsheets. We are emotional creatures. When you tackle your largest debt first, it can take years to see any visible, satisfying progress. Without quick wins, psychological fatigue sets in, and people abandon the strategy entirely. That is why behavioral economists strongly advocate for the second approach. The Snowball Method. You completely ignore the interest rates. Instead, you line up your debts from smallest to largest. You throw every spare pound at that smallest debt while paying the minimum on the rest. By crossing out that first small debt quickly, your brain receives a massive dopamine hit. You take the money from the cleared debt and roll it into the next one. The momentum builds. What starts as a tiny snowball soon becomes an unstoppable, crushing avalanche of its own, destroying the monster. Leo looked at his blueprint. He didn't need perfect math. He needed a psychological victory. Leo chose momentum over perfect math. But a snowball needs material to grow. Step 1 was liquidation. He took his beloved 400-pound vintage trench coat and sold it to a second-hand shop for a mere 50 pounds. The harsh reality of depreciation. He didn't spend that 50 pounds. He threw every single pound of it at his smallest balance. Step 2, drastically downgrading his lifestyle. He replaced 80-pound Soho dinners with 50-pence cans of baked beans. He willingly ignored the social media posts of his peers eating sushi. The 79 pounds 50 he saved from that one dinner went straight into the snowball. Step 3, increasing income. He couldn't just cut expenses. He needed more cash flow. He took on a late-night delivery hustle, riding through the cold, rainy London streets. Every 15-pound delivery fee was another chunk of ice added to his rolling snowball. Months passed. The consistency was brutal, boring, and utterly exhausting. But 8 months later, a 3,000 pounds debt was violently crossed out. By clearing that debt, he freed up the monthly minimum payment associated with it and rolled that freed-up cash into attacking the next balance. The snowball became a massive force. Eventually, it rolled over the final balance. The 12,000 pounds monster was reduced to absolute dust. After 3 grueling years of the Snowball Method, the long, painful battle is over. Leo's net worth is finally exactly zero. Returning to zero feels incredibly light, like a massive weight has lifted. But as an analyst, we cannot just celebrate. We must look at the final receipt. Over those 3 years, he didn't just pay back the 12,000 pounds he borrowed. The total amount he actually paid the bank was nearly 17,000 pounds. That 5,000 pound difference is pure, unadulterated interest. It is the mathematical penalty of the credit trap. That 5,000 pounds wasn't spent on food, rent, or a holiday. It bought absolutely nothing tangible. It simply vanished into the system. It was the literal sunk cost of his youth. The corporate shadow bankers gladly collected this premium, leaving Leo at 26 years old exactly where he started, with zero assets. This massive loss of time and capital forces a painful question. What if he had never fed the monster in the first place? Let's walk down the alternate universe. Imagine if at 23, Leo had torn up that credit card offer. Instead of feeding a monster 150 pounds a month in minimum payments, he invested that exact amount into a stocks and shares ISA, tracking a global index fund like the S&P 500, which historically averages around a 10% annual return. 9 years later, by age 32, his portfolio would be worth roughly 26,000 pounds, with over 9,000 pounds in pure compound growth. The invisible wealth gap between the two universes is staggering. True wealth is quiet. It's an emergency fund and peace of mind. The numbers don't lie, but they only reward those who pay attention. If you value the brutal truth over financial illusions, hit subscribe. To see how this math applies to your next move, click the video on your screen right now. I'll see you there. This video is for informational and educational purposes only, not financial advice. All investing carries risk of loss. Do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor.